Welcome back. So I'm doing my review slash rant slash things I've learned at Comic-Con 2017. I have to say I had not been to Comic-Con in about 6 years, and I remember it being crazy with lots of people, but this year it was worse. I heard they sold I want to say 150,000 badges this year. And as far as I think the convention center can only hold 120,000. And I know that they extend out to the other hotels in Petco Park. But I gotta say, this year, there were too many occasions where you seriously could not walk. You were just together with people just trying to get through aisles, and it was way worse than I recall last time. So definitely more people. I can't imagine that being a very good first experience for someone who's never been before. I think the theme for Comic-Con is get in line and hurry up and wait. I did do Hall H this year, and we did make it into Game of Thrones panel, which I will have a video for that. And it was good, but it was you start on Thursday, it's kind of like an almost 2-day thing just to get to one day. If you literally wanted to do a panel in Hall H every day, you'd literally be in line from Wednesday to Sunday. And I don't know, I noticed a few things about other panels. A guy went to another panel in Indigo Ballroom, and I've noticed a recurring theme with the panels is a lot of people just get to the room as early as possible, and you just kind of sit there and wait for your panel, even if it's at the end of the day or halfway through the day. I did that a couple of times because if you didn't, chances are you either wouldn't get into the room or you would get into the room, but you'd be way in the back. So I was kind of forced to just kind of sit there through panels I really didn't care about to get to the panel that I wanted. I think the one that it bothered me the most was probably the Sailor Moon panel. Just because I know for a fact about the first 3 rows were people that were not necessarily there for Sailor Moon. I was fortunate enough, I sat through the 2 or 3 panels before Sailor Moon and kept working my way to as close as I could get. I'll have a video for that as well. It was a great panel. It was honestly the highlight of my convention. Because I was able to go to the autograph signing for Robbie Damon, was my main attraction for that. Shermie, and I'm so sorry, I always forget the girl that does Jupiter, because it was really just 3 people. So Robbie Damon, though, was my favorite person, and I was like, yes, I am going to that autograph signing. And again, that was a crazy, crazy line. It was just first it wasn't a line, and then it was out of the blue a line, and you had to get one of the 100 tickets that they were giving out for the free autograph session. And amazingly, I got it with some help of some nice girls that I met in line, Mooney friends. But this seems to really be a thing with Comic-Con. Hurry up and wait while you're in line. Everything has a line. And speaking of lines, if I had not been committed to doing Hall H, I would have probably bowed out of doing the Hall H panel, because I was a little deflated by the time, even though we did it with other people, which is definitely the way to go. You don't have to stand out there the whole time. It's still a lot of work, and it's still commitment to do it. And Hall H is no joke. So if you do Hall H, more power to you. I've done it once and I will not do it again. I really don't think that the panels are necessarily worth it, especially when with like Game of Thrones, like and I mean, you know, Kit Harington, Emilia Clarke, you know, none of these main players showed up. And I mean, it was cool to see the people that did show up. I mean, but I'm just like, really? We stood in line and not even the main people show up? It's like, it was a little irritating, especially when I found out that the Game of Thrones Winter is Here experience had a line completely around the entire building. People were sleeping outside on the sidewalk. And I was very irritated with this because this was one of the main things I was going to Comic-Con for. I wanted a picture on the Iron Throne. I bought a costume. I did my nails for the costume. And when I'm standing in line for Hall H, I find out that the shortest wait time for this experience is 11 hours. And then people were sleeping out overnight. They were capping the line off halfway through the day. And if you looked at the times, they were only there for 4 days. 3 of those days, they were only open for 6 hours, and then they were open for half that time, you know, and it was just crazy. I was so irritated because I felt as if the Iron Throne was just inaccessible at that point. And it was just really aggravating, and I know for a fact that I am not the only one that felt this way. There were a lot of people that were upset about this. I mean, when we were one of the lucky few that actually found a hotel. And I'm sorry, but when you're paying for a hotel through Comic-Con, you're not going to not use the room. So, I mean, you know, sleeping on the ground is never a fun option, let alone when you're paying, you know, Comic-Con prices for a hotel. And it was just really irritating. And the only, you know, saving grace I have from this is knowing that the exhibit is actually going on tour in Europe. And I believe that it's going to have a permanent place in Scotland. And luckily for me, I have family in Europe and Scotland's not far. So honestly, I feel like it'll be easier to just go there. Because that line was completely around the building. And I mean, it was just, I mean, when you have, you know, an exhibit that takes at least an hour to go through, you are open for 6 hours and 3 on the last day, and you can only let a certain amount of people in at a time. I mean, do the math. You can't it doesn't work. I mean, so I was a little irritated about that, to say the least. But, you know, like I said, my Sailor Moon panel kind of saved my con experience along with the autograph session. And I will have my haul video coming up for that as well. So check my Comic-Con haul video. I bought way too much stuff. That was crazy. I bought so much stuff. Biggest lie I told myself is, oh, I won't get very much. So yeah, that was crazy. Speaking of stuff, here's a tip that I learned. However much you bring to Comic-Con, chances are you probably won't use a quarter of it, because that was kind of my situation. I really think that Comic-Con could do a little better job with the panels. I really think that there should be some kind of system where they clear out the rooms between panels, because I talked to so many people who got stuck in line specifically for the Sailor Moon panel. They could not get in because they had a Kodansha panel that was also talking about Sailor Moon about an hour before the Sailor Moon panel started. And I talked to a girl who went to the Kodansha panel, and then she tried to come to the Sailor Moon panel. She couldn't get in. The only reason that I got in was because I went 3 panels before, and I kept moving my way to the front and sitting through other panels to see the Sailor Moon panel. And here's the other problem I noticed. The panel before the Sailor Moon panel was for Westworld. There was like 800 people checked into that panel. Guess what? The room they had us in holds 500 people. Again, do the math. Why in the hell would you put a Westworld freaking panel in a room for 500 people? I mean, give me a break. I was really shocked by that. And, you know, I'm just noticing, you know, if they would just at least clear out the panels or have some kind of system, like, okay, which panel are you here for? Because seriously, you have got so many people sitting through other panels just to get to their panel that they're taking up seats for people who actually want to be at that panel. I was noticing a theme. There's a lot of people that weren't even interested in the current panel, and I had that problem with the Sailor Moon panel because I was lucky enough to get in the middle on the corner 6 rows back, so I was recording everything, but people keep walking up and down and through the aisles, so I had to keep moving my camera down, and it's like, you're not even here for this panel. Like, could you go the other way, go around the room? Do you need to come down the main panel? Like, seriously? So yeah, there was a lot of little things that were really irking me because I was just like, okay, you know what, Comic-Con, I know this, you know, you're selling your tickets and everybody wants to come and that's great, but you need to think some things through. Because, I mean, a lot of people spend a lot of money and all year planning for this, only to what? Have to sleep outside? I mean, seriously, I had to draw the line somewhere. And like I said, the Sailor Moon panel was my saving grace for Comic-Con. I did have a good time. There were just things that were increasingly upsetting about it. Unfortunately, you know, I know that's just the way it is, and I doubt that it will change, but, you know, I mean, I think personally, since you can check in online on the schedule for what panel you want, there should be some kind of system there, like, or at least clear the rooms, because too many freaking people sit through other panels and taking up seats, and it's just like, I hated having to do it. But, I mean, I didn't have a choice. It's like, okay, this is the one panel I wanted to see today, so I've got to sit through 3 other panels that I don't care about, you know? And it's just, I think there would be a better way to do this, you know? And I ended up, you know, I mean, you forget to go to the bathroom because you don't want to lose your place in line, or you don't want to lose your seat, or, you know, and you don't drink a lot of water even though you should. And it's like, there's all these things that kind of domino, and it's like, conventions can be kind of unhealthy just for your health in general if not careful. But I've been to a lot of conventions, and this one, I think with the level and as many people as there are, it's just, there needs to be a better system. At least clear the rooms between panels to give people who actually want to be in the panel a shot. It's like, because seriously, you don't have any other choice but to sit there and just wait it out, you know, and it's kind of crappy because, you know, you don't care about the panel, you know, that you're waiting through, and you're on your phone or you're walking up and down the aisles, and it's just, it's not a great feeling, I'm sure, to the panelists. So, I mean, I just kind of noticed these things, and I kind of wish Comic-Con would maybe start clearing the rooms between panels, just because there's a lot of that going on, guys, and it's exhausting, and Comic-Con is exhausting. I am so tired. I'm still recuperating this whole week because it is so exhausting. But yeah, I mean, it was great to go, but there are definite issues that I think need to be addressed through Comic-Con, that they need to sit down and kind of rethink some things, because I think there's a much better way that some things could have been done. But, I mean, like I said, the Sailor Moon panel kind of saved my convention experience, and, you know, just getting the autograph was amazing, and again, I'll have that on my haul video. So, yeah, I mean, I wish I could say more amazing things about it, but it was great to see, you know, it was good to go, it was good to get away, but it's just, oh my gosh, I couldn't even dress up. Like, I couldn't even do my costumes that I took because it's so many people. Like, if you have any kind of anything on your costume, it's going to get ripped, it's going to get tore. I mean, I don't know how cosplayers do it. Like, I mean, it's claustrophobic in there. Like, seriously. So, I mean, it's just, it's crazy. I mean, Comic-Con is definitely one of the bigger conventions, absolutely, but oh my god, it was so nuts, guys. Like, this year was just so claustrophobic. And I mean, I really hope that Comic-Con addresses some things and like really maybe figures some things out. Because, you know, I mean, but like I said, if it weren't for my Sailor Moon panel, it saved my con experience. It really did. So thank you to the guys for Sailor Moon and Viz Media for coming out and saving my con experience. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Sorry it wasn't more upbeat, but that's the real deal here. That's how I feel. You know, Comic-Con is crazy, and if I go next year, I'll definitely be packing less than I did this year, because I felt like my back and shoulder were gonna break. I was like, oh my god, my bag is so heavy. So yeah, it's definitely not a very costume friendly convention in my opinion, just because, you know, like I said, there's so many people, and definitely you won't use half the stuff you bring, and panels are just work. It's a lot of work. But that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time.